It looks like a store.
It really is. It really is. You'd be hard pressed to find a collection like this anywhere. But what it represents for me is we have the opportunity to help young men and their families achieve their dreams. And so for us, we kind of think of ourselves in our own way as superheroes. This is kind of an extension, this profession and company is really all about doing super things for super people.
So now I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice. You gotta notice me living my best life.
Welcome to Daily and Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Rosenhaus Sports. And as we always like to start the show, we got to mention, if you're struggling with mental health, there is no shame in asking for help. You can use the free 988 crisis support line, or check out kennedykids.org. You can navigate over to our resources tab, and we have a ton of different resources, phone numbers, websites, etc., for you to check out, where there is just endless hope and endless help for you. So don't be afraid to reach out. Make sure that you guys do. That's what we're trying to do here. And with that, I'm going to introduce our hosts. I am Misty Buck. I am an author, and I'm also a mental health and performance coach. And I'm joined by the amazing and incredible Robert Bailey. He is a two-time national football champion from the University of Miami days, right? And he also has 2 Super Bowls, an ESPY, holds an NFL record. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, and he is also the president of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. And we are also joined by the incredibly amazing Mrs. Bailey Brooks Mashford. She is a former NFL cheerleader. She's a celebrity and event wedding planner, and she is also the CEO of Kennedy Kids Foundation. And so now that you guys know us, we're going to get to the most important part. I'm going to introduce today's guest, Drew Rosenhaus. He probably needs no introduction. He has been everywhere. You've seen him everywhere. But I'm going to do my best to try and just mention off some of his accolades here. Let me tell you guys something that I was shocked to recently learn. So Rosenhaus Sports, on average, represents about 100 clients a year. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I think that is like wild. So I'm really interested in hearing about how all this happens. You've seen him in Jerry McGuire. You've seen him in Burger King commercials. You've seen him as the first agent ever on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. He's an author. He's a dad. He's a husband. I don't know how he has time to do all these things, but we're going to go ahead and welcome today. Drew, thanks for being here, and thanks for your time.
Absolutely.
Woo, welcome, Drew.
Thank you, guys. Kennedy's kids are near and dear to me. I've known Robert since the 80s. And we initially started representing Robert when he was drafted in 1991 by the Rams. We represented Robert as his agents, my brother Jason and I, during his illustrious NFL career. And then when Robert retired, shortly after that, he came to partner up with us. And Robert's been working with us for close to 30 years as the president of Rosenhaus Sports. So obviously have known Kennedy since she was born, and certainly love her very much. And whenever Robert has an event, we're always eager to be a part of it. I admire Robert immensely because Robert endured every parent's worst nightmare. And instead of folding or caving in or giving up, what Robert's done is he's chosen a fight. Robert has chosen to take his pain and the tragedy that he went through, that he continues to live through, to try and use that for something beautiful. Robert took the tragedy of Kennedy's loss to create something magnificent, to help others, to prevent other people from going through what his family has gone through, to help countless people. that's the mark of greatness. I think in life, when people can deal with adversity, we all get hit with it. But the people that I admire most are Robert and others who take adversity and choose to use it to fight back, to do good, to turn something devastating into something that helps others. And, I'm proud of Robert's career. I'm proud of what he's accomplished as a player, as an agent, but I'm most proud of what he's accomplished as a person, as a philanthropist, and trying to help other people and make the devastating loss that he endured live on forever is a beautiful thing. Kennedy's name is synonymous with helping others. This foundation is incredible. Participated in the runs, the walks, so many great things. I've seen all the people that it's helped on a day-to-day basis. It's one of the most amazing things that I've been able to witness, and just incredibly, I have so much admiration for Robert, and I appreciate Misty, you and Bailey for your commitment to helping with the Kennedy Kids Foundation. And this podcast is just a lovely extension of that.
Thank you.
Oh,
thank you, Drew. Thank you so much. Thanks for the kind words. Drew mentioned 30 years. We've been, it's been a long time since college days. I'm now 56 years old, so you can imagine how long we've known each other. We have some cat and dog fight sometimes, but we're at the end of the day, we're all family, and the next day is like a brand new day. But, the reason why I wanted to get Drew on the show is everybody knows Drew from being this agent that's very polarizing on TV, and Drew, we've done many contracts and many players. You count the players, over 1,000 players we've represented. But, I didn't want to ask you football questions. I wanted to bring a side of you that a lot of the fans and the viewers don't know. The first question I have is, Drew, you're a big family guy, and a lot of people don't know about your love for comics, DC and Marvel. You have one of the most amazing collections, figurines, and I would love for you to talk about where did that love come from? Where did that start? And if you can, listen, we're on a podcast. If you can get up and take us to that room and show us all of your figurines, so that the public gets an idea of how big and massive your collection is. Just talk about that while you walk us through your room.
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, my father, Robert, was a huge comic book collector. So in the early 70s, he introduced me to comics. And I fell in love with comics. And what I loved about comics was the heroes. They were larger than life, and they were good guys. And this is a room with
oh my God,
my statues of the different comic book characters that I absolutely adore. And as I got older,
that is insane.
Yeah,
that's so awesome.
It's a pretty unique collection that Rob's alluding to.
It looks like a store.
It really is. It really is. You'd be hard pressed to find a collection like this anywhere. But what it represents for me is what I enjoy about superheroes is, as agents, Robert and I and the rest of our company, we have the opportunity to help people. We have the opportunity to do really good things, really nice things. We have the opportunity to help young men and their families achieve their dreams. And so for us, we kind of think of ourselves in our own way as superheroes. This is kind of an extension. This profession and company is really all about doing super things for super people. Professional athletes are real life superheroes. And we're trying to do super things for them by guiding their careers and helping them achieve their potential by assisting them with their negotiations and reaching financial heights. And so that's kind of the extension of superheroes. You know, we kind of see ourselves as super agents, if you will, in the ability to do great things for our clients and really push ourselves. You know, one of the things that I always looked up to with my comics and superheroes was, you know, their ability to make the most of themselves and their ability to do extraordinary things. And my favorite character is Batman, and I'll tell you why. Batman, he doesn't have any powers. Batman, he doesn't have any, he can't fly. He's not invulnerable. He doesn't have any extraordinary or paranormal abilities. He's just a human being. His parents were murdered when he was a little boy, and he took that tragedy of losing his parents and made the most of himself through training and working out, building himself into his own superhero to avenge the death of his parents so that other people wouldn't endure what he went through. His parents were killed, were murdered in front of him by a criminal, shot down. So Batman's my favorite because he took a tragedy and turned it into a positive and became a superhero and gave back to the whole world. He doesn't have any superpowers, but some would argue that he's the most formidable superhero who's even defeated Superman by using his brain, his intellect, and his ingenuity to outsmart people. So
That is
Robert,
fantastic.
that's a long-winded answer into my psyche, and it's very pure. And my dad and my brother and I, we're pretty straightforward people. We have a lot of love in our heart. We're big kids. You know, still love our comics and our superheroes, and we got a whole bunch of animals in our office. You can see all the
cool.
tanks that we have.
He's got a bunch of reptiles, guys.
I
Love
see that.
reptiles.
That's super cool.
Yeah, fish tanks.
Wow.
Just big kids that are having a lot of fun helping people, and that's why Robert and I have been able to do this along with my brother Jason and the rest of our company for going on 37 years now.
That is super impressive, Drew, because I've known you since 2003, which is actually, he was the catalyst for me knowing Robert because Jason married my girlfriend from cheerleading, Casey, and I met Robert at Jason and Casey's wedding. So I've known you guys since, what's that, 21 years now? My math's horrendous, but I didn't know that about you, and I relate to that so well. Like my kids have me saved in their phone as Wonder Woman because you know, so I'm like superhero. Yes, I walk around with, I actually have bracelet cuffs that my husband bought me.
That's awesome.
He said he couldn't just get me one because it didn't make sense. He knew I would want both because it only makes sense. Yeah, so they're Valentino though, but it's okay. But so I have a question that kind of segues into what you're talking about because I really learned something new about you today. I didn't know that at the time when you became an agent, you were the youngest registered agent at 22 in the league. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you today, and spearheading off your whole superhero background and comic story, is like, did you always know that you wanted to do this as a kid? Because it kind of makes sense to me at this point when you say how the agents are and how they're superheroes. And I'm like, this only makes sense now.
Yeah, well, I got to know real life superheroes when I was a kid. My dad, we grew up in North Miami, right outside of St. Thomas University in a suburb of North Miami called San Souci. And that's where I grew up as a kid. And my dad was in proximity in North Miami to all the local Dolphin guys who used to hang out in the same spots that my mom and dad did. My dad became friendly with a bunch of guys on the Dolphins, and ultimately they would come over our house. So when I was a young teenager, 11, 12, 13 years old, at least once or twice a week, we'd have football players come hang out with us.
Huh.
And so I grew up really admiring them and loving them. And both my grandfathers were lawyers. So I had in my blood that I wanted to be a lawyer. So my plan was to work for these guys that I loved, these players that, you know, I grew up admiring, that were larger than life, that were real life superheroes that I watch on TV on Sunday and or Monday night, and then would be in my house a couple days later. That's really the genesis of wanting to become an agent, to go to work for these people that I became friendly with as a kid. And then when I went to college, I became friendly. I went undergrad at the University of Miami, and I went to law school at Duke Law School. But while at the University of Miami, I did the same thing that my dad did. I became friendly with a lot of the players on the football team who I viewed as larger than life, and decided to help them with their work and their schoolwork. I was a good student, and they have a full plate, and just became friends. And the idea really took hold that hopefully one day I could go on and represent my friends.
Yeah, but you're not just representing, you're like the celebrity, like you turned the agent position into like a whole you became a celebrity. You became like the superhero for the celebrities. I'm like, it's just wild.
Yeah, you know, being an agent, there are a lot of really good agents that people wouldn't recognize, that they're kind of behind the scenes, or, you know, not nondescript sort of personas in the public eye. And then there are guys like myself and Rich Paul and Scott Boras that, you know, people know in everyday life that just, you know, happen to be in circumstances that become very public. And I've never shied away from that. You know, I've always embraced that. I've always thought that I could help my clients more by being influential in the media, in the public eye, being able to spin things for them to their benefit, being able to have a presence, a voice, if you will, that's well respected as a sports commentator or as an authority on issues involving sports representation and things like professional football. So I've embraced that, Bailey. You know, Misty alluded to in her introduction that, you know, I've done some unique things, you know, relative to commercials and books and covers of magazines and things of that nature. And I'll always try to take the interest in me and try to use that to help our clients. And the more powerful or well-known you can become as a good guy, ultimately is a voice for positive things. So
one of my favorite shows is Scandal. Have you ever seen that?
Love that show.
Scandal. No, I haven't.
Okay, so you might not get this reference, but like you're the Olivia Pope of like
Considered it handled. Everything she does, consider it handled, no matter what happens. It's amazing.
Olivia Pope is like the fixer for the president seat in the White House. So whatever goes down in the background, she handles it so that democracy in the White House is never affected and the public never sees it. And I remember the first time I seen you do damage control on the TV after I'd met you, and I was floored. And it was when T.O. had gotten to an altercation and you were the front person, like just championing for him and like just like sharing what you should share and like trying to like get people to just understand like this is a human too, you know, we represent human beings as well and they make mistakes. And I just thought that was the most incredible thing. And I always wondered like how you dealt with, especially because it's like mentally how you deal with the stress of when a player starts screaming, call Drew in the situation, the house is on fire. You know, like there's so many different things that I've watched you handle over the years that I'm just like, oh, this just got to be mentally stressful as well for you.
Well, you know, you begin to become comfortable in the chaos when this is something that I started when I was 22 years old. And very early in my career, I had to deal with a client who went through a tragedy. We represented a teammate of Robert Bailey's named Brian Blades, who was charged with manslaughter for the accidental fatal shooting of his cousin. And, you know, as a young agent in my mid-20s, Brian and his family came to me and said, what do we do? This horrible accident occurred.
Yeah.
And so that was a crazy indoctrination to some of the really chaotic things that happen as an agent, as a lawyer, as a representative for professional athletes, we've chosen to be there for them in any capacity that they need, as a friend, as a confidant, and so we've stepped into many roles to help our clients, and you just never really know what they're going to go through. So you just simply have to be their anchor. You have to be steady, a rock for them when they're going through tough times. On a daily basis, Robert and I and our team, we have to deal with clients who get injured. We have to deal with guys who get released. We have to deal with guys who are told that their career's over. We have to deal with guys that have worked their whole life to play professional football who were told that it's over. Players that go through personal tragedies, players that are dealing with the same off the field issues that normal people deal with, right? Depression and mental issues and challenges. So mental health. So Robert and I have to be very well-rounded, balanced, stable, and there for our clients. The ways that I cope, and I see, the Kennedy kids post a lot of really nice messages on Instagram. I'm an avid workout guy. I work out every day for 7 days. 7 days a week. I get a workout in of some kind, whether it's a 30-minute run or swimming laps in the pool, brisk walk. I find a way to work out without fail.
Oh, wow.
Big believer in eating healthy, taking my vitamins, and also having time to have fun. I love doing things with the kids. I love to share my passion with our pets, and we go to the pet store. We go out on the boat. We go snorkeling. We'll go to comic conventions and pet conventions, and just still be a big kid. At night, late at night when I'm done with work and everybody's asleep, I'll go downstairs and play video games for an hour, or I'll just watch a scary movie. I have a lot of really fun things that I like to do that keep me balanced and really enable me to offset with a lot of the stress and drama. And the other thing is that I kind of enjoy the challenges. I think when you can get to a point in your life when you can start to enjoy the challenges, that's a great adjustment. Instead of being afraid of challenges, embracing them, and just, after time, you believe in yourself and you develop so much confidence that that no matter what adversity you're facing, it's going to work out. And you say that to yourself all the time. And that really helps me deal with a lot of the challenges that I have as an agent on behalf of our clients.
Man, that's exceptional. Thank you for answering that for me. It totally sounds like a book. I'd love to be an agent and represent you. Comfort in the Chaos is coming out soon. Please, people, stay tuned.
Yeah, Drew, my mentor calls that Eye of the Hurricane.
Drew, what's the game of choice these days that you're playing on the video game?
I'm playing a game called Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, where you're basically a warrior on a quest. And you build up your character and you fight monsters and villains, and you're a good guy who is all powerful, basically just beating up monsters and sword and sorcery, basically. I named my son Conan after Conan the Barbarian. So that gives you an idea. That gives you an idea of my makeup. My youngest son, Robert, was named after my father, Robert, who passed away 3 years ago. And so both my sons have very meaningful names, but Robert's middle name is Sylvester because my favorite movie character is this guy right here, Rocky Balboa. So I happen to love Sylvester Stallone because Stallone's story is one of the most incredible stories of a guy who went from rags to riches. So Robert's middle name is Sylvester, in honor of Sylvester Stallone, is probably my favorite real life character in the whole world.
That's fantastic.
Everything that Drew does has a meaning. Everything plays a role. And that's what I look up to Drew, so much for, because is no wasted time. Everything is either, if it's not work, it's his family. You know, if it's not family, it's you know, recruiting, how we can get better. But everything has a meaning. He's not just gonna just, you know, do something without it having a purpose. And that's helped me become a better agent and even a better person. So, you know, I want to, you know, thank you for that, Drew. You're just, you know, a lot of people don't know the human side to you. One thing I do want to bring up is Michael Irvin. Can you tell the listeners and the viewers how Michael Irvin played such a tremendous role in just Rosenhaus Sports as an agency?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in college at the University of Miami, one of the players that I became friendly with was Robert Bailey, but I also became friendly with a player named Michael Irvin. And just to back up, Michael Irvin is in the Hall of Fame. He was an all-time great wide receiver at the University of Miami from a local high school, St. Thomas Aquinas. And Michael was drafted in the first round by the Dallas Cowboys, played his entire career with the Cowboys, and went on to be a great Hall of Fame player and also a great broadcaster. But Irvin was one of the guys that I befriended in college at the University of Miami. And I helped Michael with the schoolwork because Michael was one of the best players in the country and had NFL potential. And he was, I wouldn't say he was struggling with school, but he could use some help. And I was in a couple of classes with him, and I offered to tutor him, and we became great friends. And Irvin promised me, I shared with him that I wanted to be an agent, and he promised me that that he would get me an opportunity to go to work to intern with his agent. So after my first year of law school, it coincided with Michael getting drafted in the first round by the Cowboys, and he got me an internship with his agent the summer after my first year of law school, and that was my official introduction to the agent business. Got certified, and then in my second year of law school, opened up our own sports agency with my brother Jason, Rosenhaus Sports, and Robert was our next employee.
Yeah,
it was really just Jason and I for really the first
all the way to
decade.
Robert. Oh wow!
Yeah, yep. It was a 2-man operation, and Robert came in and made it 3, and we've grown quite a bit, obviously. But yeah, Michael Irvin was a signature part of our development as agents.
Amazing.
That's incredible. Not many people know that. There's always a backstory that a lot of people don't know to the success. And, you know, I know Drew's father was the first because he played a tremendous role in Drew's mental makeup as well as his physical makeup. Drew, can you tell us a little bit about your dad and his role in making you as who you are today, physically
Sure.
and mentally?
Absolutely. So, you know, I mentioned my dad was friends with a lot of NFL players, and my dad, Robert, was just this really outgoing, likable, fun guy. I mean, you know, really everyone wanted to be friends with my dad. He had a speedboat that everybody wanted to go on with him. He was the guy that worked out frequently in the gym. He was a terrific tennis player. He was just really a great all-around guy, good-looking, fun, smart. And I'm a byproduct of him, really. So is my brother Jason in terms of the way that he raised us to love people. One of the things that I admired most about my dad is one of his businesses, he had a manufacturing plant, and his partner was a gentleman named Willie Rollins, who was black. And when I was growing up, I used to call Willie my Uncle Willie, and he was black. And I didn't know that he wasn't any different than my Uncle Howard or my Uncle Richard, who were my dad's blood brothers.
Yeah,
that was really, really important. Yeah, that my dad brought me up that way, really to love everybody, whether they were white, black, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. It didn't matter. My dad loved everybody and brought me up in that capacity. And I think that's why we've had a lot of success. People that decide to hire us say they look at the spirit of myself and Robert, Jason, and others that work with us, like Ryan Math, and they see a very good spirit. And that only can come from your upbringing. And I'm grateful to my parents for that.
And Drew's a black belt. Drew, you got to tell him that you're a black belt.
Yeah, one of the good things that my dad did is I grew up in North Miami. And I would say I was a mama's boy growing up, and lived at home really through high school, college. When I went to UM, I commuted, was really close with my family, but my dad got me involved in Taekwondo, which is Korean karate, and an instructor who was really tough. And I was kind of like the karate kid who was a mama's boy, who kind of really karate helped develop my toughness, both mentally and physically. Ultimately became a 4th degree black belt. It was instrumental in my academic success. Gave me a lot of discipline. I studied hard. When I went away to Duke Law School, I was known as one of the hardest workers there. Studied all the time, and I attribute that to what Robert mentioned, my history with Taekwondo and my instructor, Young Sudo.
Wild.
I love it. And I love all the things that you're mentioning. I think we're getting to know you a lot better. You mentioned the discipline that you learned growing up. You mentioned the influence on your father and the love that he instilled in you for all people. You've talked about confidence. You've talked about embracing challenges. So those are all really strong mental health tools. But I have a mental health question for you that's related to superheroes. I thought of this while you were chatting. So I'm wondering, so I know you mentioned Batman and his story and he's your favorite, but if you had to choose your personal mental health superpower and your mental health kryptonite, what would those be?
You alluded to them. Discipline, confidence, love, believing in the world that there is a lot of good out there. Unfortunately, I think there are a lot of people in the world that think that it's supposed to be bad, that the bad things are going to happen. That's just not the way that I've raised. I think there are happy endings. I think there are good people in the world. I think there are good things that are happening every day. I think there are great spirited people who mean well. I believe in the goodness of life, and I just stay true to the good, and that's probably my best attitude. I'm a loving father. I'm a loyal and dedicated husband. I work hard for my clients. I take pride in my honesty and my integrity and my character. And I live by a code that I won't ever violate, which is to put other people first and do the right thing, regardless of what is entailed by your own sacrifice. And I absolutely think that that's probably my greatest strength, which is belief in integrity and character and doing right by people.
And your kryptonite would be what?
My kryptonite. Well, we all have weaknesses. So,
Right.
I think my weakness is definitely I could be a more disciplined parent. Robert works with me all the time on this. I'm certainly a yes man. When it comes to my 4 kids, I have an 8-year-old who's soon to be 9-year-old daughter named Elle. I have a 6-year-old daughter named Blair. Conan is 3, and little Robert is almost 2. And I'm a pushover. And Robert tells me all the time that, I have to be tougher with my kids. I think it's my biggest flaw in life. I need to work on it. It probably has to do with the fact that I travel a lot. For example, I was out of town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And when I got back on Thursday, the last thing I could do was be a disciplinarian. I miss them. They miss me. So I'm a big pushover and pretty much give them everything they want. And it does aggravate my wife. and Robert has tried to school me on this, but I think that's my kryptonite in the area that I can improve upon the most is just having a more of a toughness when it comes to raising my kids for their own benefit.
I was definitely going to say the kids, 100%. I've never seen Drew say no to any of his kids. And Lisa, his wife, who is, by the way, one of the most amazing women in terms of how she raises that family, because we're always on the road and she keeps everything, the home business, she keeps it all professional. But Drew just, guys, Drew comes home from work and, the kids will be outside on the step waiting for him to come through the gate. So he brings candy, she stopped him from doing all that, but I've never seen a parent not say no to anything. It's incredible.
He knows he has Lisa to say no. He lets Lisa say all the no's, and he gets to be like the fun parent. Someone's always the fun parent. There's always good cop, bad cop in the situation. Yeah. And I can see.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I could be a better husband too. In that, I work a lot and I do a lot for my clients, and as a result, I'm not as romantic or giving to Lisa as I should be with a lot of the little things. Robert tried to help me last year by
Robert. You asked the wrong person.
Well, he did try to help me. We set up this deal where we had flowers delivered every week to our significant others, but I definitely feel that I could be a much better husband. I could make more of an effort, but because I give so much to my job, when I come home, I probably don't put the work into our relationship that I should. And so that's something that I'm trying to work on, be more romantic, make more of an effort to do the little things for my wife, not take her for granted. I appreciate her immensely, but show that appreciation, and not necessarily with the gift, but just with respect to the little things. And I really need to work on that because that's definitely not one of my strengths.
I definitely have to tell you that at least 90% of the men in America, or 90% of the viewers that are listening to the podcast, have the same issue. They're all dealing with the same thing. I know so many men, and they all say the same thing. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but sometimes you have to enlist a female that will counsel you and tell you what the ideas are that you could be doing, and it'll make your life 100% easier. Don't call Robert on this one.
What do you mean? I'm a great guy.
You are an excellent guy. You're amazing. I've been here for you for 20 years. I know that, but I just like the romantic part. I don't know if that's the Robert call. Maybe Daniela. Daniela.
Yeah, I take Drew's advice and Drew takes mine. We help each other.
Yeah.
Well, we spend a lot of time together. So we're on the road recruiting and visiting clients. So we listen into our calls and our day-to-day life, and we always try and chime in, about, different thoughts that we have to help each other in our personal life. And that's something that it's because we care about each other.
I love this brotherhood.
Exactly. I've always considered Robert to be like a brother, and, certainly want what's best for him and his family, and he feels the same. So I've been very lucky to work with Robert all these years, and we make a great team. And, you can't be successful in this business as an agent and run an agency unless you're lucky enough to have great people. And Robert has been a great strength for our company, for me personally, along with my brother Jason and one of our partners, Ryan Math, has been with us a long time. And on the marketing side, people like Barry Wolfman, who you guys have met.
Yep, she's on the board.
I'm calling her after this, actually.
Yep. So we're really fortunate. It's really a big family at Rosenhaus Sports, and whenever we sign a new client, we tell them, "Hey, welcome to the family," because that's what it is.
No, I've seen that from your whole organization, from everybody I've met over the years, especially Robert. I know Robert started in marketing when I met him. his email address had marketing at Rosenhaus in like the email address. And then when he told me he was the president of Rosenhaus Sports, I had never been so proud. And like just seeing how your parents had an influence on you. I knew your father and I know your mom, and exactly what you described is exactly what I experienced with all of them. So I think that's just a true testament to what you've built with Rosenhaus Sports. And I really, really encourage people to just get to know you guys as a whole, as an agency, because I really think that you guys have raised the bar on what you do for athletes in the industry.
Thank you.
Yep. And, I'm delighted to come on with you guys today, and certainly keep up the great work in what you're doing with Kennedy's kids, and excited for many more great events, and continue to partner up and help in any way that I can, and admire you all for all the great work that you're doing. You're helping so many people, and mental health is real. It's out there. And, we lived it firsthand with Kennedy. It was one of the worst, probably the worst day of my life. And I would hate to see other people go through that. And if there's anything that I would say, it's just to take from what you guys are doing, and to teach people that there is help out there. There's
Awareness
is the word.
What is it, Drew? I had asked Robert, because we interviewed Robert on our first show, actually, I believe it was one of the early ones anyways. And I had asked him, like, what is it that you guys put in place mental health wise to support the athlete when the athlete comes on board for Rosenhaus?
We really lean on, well, first of all, with all the experience that Robert and I have, and other members of the team, we try to refer them to mental health experts. Every NFL team, every college has a psychologist and a psychiatrist that's a part of their organization. So as soon as we see a current or active client, whether they're in college or in the NFL, we will connect them with a psychologist or a psychiatrist that is affiliated with the team or the NFL for a variety of issues. Whether it be substance abuse or other areas that they're struggling with mentally. And then for the retired clients, the NFLPA and the NFL both have services to help retired members get the mental health that they need, the mental health help that they need. So we certainly have a good system of referring our clients to experts to help our clients through difficult times.
So do you have any like preventative?
Yeah, that's what I was going to, Misty, I'm asking the same thing you are. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I was just going to ask, are there like preventative steps that you guys take to help maybe educate your clients when they come in? Like, these are signs to look for, or these are ways to manage the stress or the pressure or performance anxiety, or things that might come up as like the pressure continues to mount as they progress?
Not internally within our company, but that is something that both the colleges do with the college football players or professional athletes in the NFL and Major League Baseball. That is a curriculum for every rookie. Each NFL team has a symposium for the incoming players that addresses mental health, along with the litany of other things, financial literacy with their incoming wealth, their newfound wealth for their investments, and also to help out relative to issues that they might be having with their family, with their girlfriends, with wives, and also their children, mental health, both physically and mental issues as well.
And mental health is still a very taboo subject, right? So
in sports, right? In particular, you think?
Right. And then, also guys, they tend not to air their laundry because they're trying to protect their career with the NFL team that they're signed to. But I make it a personal goal of mine to ask every player that I get on the phone at some point in our conversation, man, how's your mental health? How are you doing? I do it every single week. Every guy I get on the phone is, everybody always say, hey, how you doing, man? I make it a personal, it's on my agenda to put on my agenda to ask, how is your mental health? Not just how are you doing, but how's your mental health? And, that's kind of the way I try to identify a player if he hesitates with his question, or he doesn't give me an answer that I'm comfortable with. That's kind of what we have done. But in terms of preventative measures, as far as having a program in place, it's very hard when again, there is such a taboo subject. The guys don't even want to talk about it. So it's tough. I wish we could find a way to bring those two together.
I feel like so one of the things my husband told me when I first met him, he did therapy. So one of the things he was like, oh, I have a therapist I see every week. He's like, because I work out 7 days a week. And he was like, I figured that if I invested as much into my body for my career, so that my body would operate at its optimal performance, that I should also invest just as much money into my brain so that my brain could keep up with my body. So he didn't look at it like it was a situation where there was an issue or something that needed to be handled, or you have a problem, or it's a mental health issue necessarily. It's just a matter of, if you're going to do this much for your body, you should also take care of your brain as well, because what's coming for you and what you're about to have to deal with and handle, which is the backlash from fans, the backlash from coaches, the backlash from athletes that you're playing on the same team with, it's going to be a lot of pressure, especially I think for, a 22-year-old coming into the league with a whole bunch of grown men, and then all of a sudden all of this money. So I love that the NFL does a symposium, but it's one of the things that I had really considered, because I've got two kids, two boys that are on full scholarships at their colleges right now for different sports. And we constantly work on their mental health as much as their body, and therapy them on a daily basis, just to prep them so that when they walk into the room, they can handle the pressure and they know what's coming. So one of the questions Misty and I had for your incoming players as well, for when they join Rosenhaus Sports.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement, and certainly that's something that we do on a sort of individual basis. Robert is very, very close to all of the guys that he works with, and is truly a great confidant for them and someone that they can confide in. Robert's very unique in the agent business because, he won 2 national championships in college and 2 Super Bowl rings in the NFL, and played 11 years in the NFL. And while there are many NFL agents who are former players, I can't think of any that are as accomplished as Robert. And so it's really, I think, very impressive when Robert does recruiting or works with our clients. His background is really second to none as a 4-time champion and someone who's had so much success on the field. And then Robert has had success after football, where he's segued into becoming a top agent. So Robert has a lot of really meaningful conversations with our current clients about mental health and their life in general. Robert does a lot more than just, guide them relative to contract negotiations or their training or their workouts or how to deal with injuries. Robert is truly a very close confidant for each and every one of the guys that he works with, and really helps them with their mental health on a day-to-day basis.
Appreciate that, Drew. Appreciate that. But Drew, we're not going to keep you much longer. I don't know if Misty or Bailey has any more questions, but certainly, and feel free to jump in, Misty.
I was just going to ask. I have to ask. I can't help myself.
Go ahead.
So you were talking about with your wife, and certainly if this is fine, if you want to pass on it, we would all understand. But do you want to use this opportunity to give her a shout out and tell her how amazing she is, and she can listen to this later?
Sure, I will. My wife Lisa is absolutely a godsend. I got extremely lucky when I was 46 years old to meet Lisa. I thought I was going to be relegated to a life as a bachelor, that I would have endless girlfriends, but when it came time for them to commit to my crazy lifestyle, that it would never happen. And I started to think, man, am I going to wind up being a bachelor? Because I always wanted to have a family. And I was lucky enough to meet Lisa, who had the the fullness in her life to be able to accept my lifestyle. Lisa is a very accomplished realtor. She's very involved in working out. She's got a ton of friends. Her family is down here in South Florida. Sister, 2 brothers, very close to her mom and dad. So Lisa was a better version of myself. And she, it was wonderful to finally find someone to give me a shot to marry me. Then we had these beautiful kids, and I'm very grateful for her to give me the 4 kids. It's not easy being a mom of 4. She does almost all the heavy lifting in terms of raising the kids. She plans everything for them, their school, their after-school opportunities or functions, I should say, their holidays, their birthdays. She just lets me do what I've always done, which is, to be, a good agent and to provide for my family and just to be a loving father. So I'm very grateful to Lisa. She's been a dream come true for me, and I've never been happier than from the day that I met her. These have been the best days of my life from the time that I met Lisa on, and I appreciate her for changing my life for the better. I thank God for her.
Now, that's pretty romantic if you ask me.
You see how a woman hooks you up? See how we hook you up?
Well done. Well done. Well, make sure she listens. She loves Robert.
Smart.
I'm going to send her just this clip. I'm going to make
just this clip to send her.
I'm sure she'll appreciate it because she knows it comes from the heart.
Well, I love her. She's fantastic. Her sneaker game is on point on top of it. Sure. Thank you so much, Drew, for sharing your time with us today. It's been amazing getting to know you on a personal level. There are things I learned today that I just, after 21 years, hadn't been revealed just till now. So still phenomenal, still fantastic. And we appreciate you being on the show with us today. And if anyone out there is looking for assistance with their mental health, for their teen or their family, please visit kennedykids.org for additional information. You can click on our resource tab. Please dial 988 if you'd like to talk to someone directly. And if it is an emergency and life-threatening, please, of course, always dial 911. We thank you so much. And thank you again to our sponsor for everything, for all things, for all the time, Rosenhaus Sports. You've been amazing for Kennedy Kids Foundation. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you,
My
Drew.
pleasure, guys. It's a great podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Gotta weather the storm. Gotta weather the storm. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice. You gotta notice me.